So hey guys, my name is Christianus Wijaya, and today I'm going to be presenting you all about deforestation. So the first one, the definition behind deforestation. So deforestation is the destroying of trees through human, natural, or accidental means. It can occur in any area that populated by trees, animal, or plant life. Main causes of global deforestation is by human activities, and according to Food and Agricultural Organization, deforestation is used for 80% from 100%. It is the expansion of agriculture. The 15% is the construction of infrastructure, and the third one, the final 5%, it is being used for the purpose of urbanization. Behind the tropical rainforest being cut down is to supply the world global timber. And the satellite study shown that 56% of trees is already being cut down in Borneo Island, and it is pretty sad to see.
And the next one, we're going to talk about the risk and effect of forest fire. And we have here the ecological effect, and it is endanger the lives and livelihoods of the local communism. When the economic and social effect is actually affecting two of forest fires, which the first one is going to affect the endanger of human lives, destroy several properties, and factories and production facilities are going to affect it too. And there are so many things that will going to be affected too, such as the displace of wildlife, the destroy of larger sections of forest, the greenhouse effect, climate change, and alter water cycles and soil fertility, and the soil erosion, one of them. And soil erosion is actually naturally removed by water or wind, and this process is called the background erosion, which removes soil at roughly the same rate as soil is produced. However, accelerated soil erosion is loss of soil at much faster rate than it is being produced. The cost as the result of deforestation, as it leaves ground vulnerable and unprotected by the clearance of trees. When erosive rainfall occurs, soil is easily detached and transported long distances, and this has a huge impact on the agricultural industries. And the agricultural industries will be affected into this situation. And the next one, we're going to talk about the effect of deforestation of nutrient cycling. We have here the before and after the deforestation. The nutrient-rich soil promotes rapid vegetation growth until the nutrients from litter from a layer of topsoil or humus. The deforestation disrupts the normal nutrient cycling within the region in a number of ways. The first one is the meaning of less trees means there's a less evapotranspiration, meaning that there is less moisture in the air or less precipitation. And the next one we're going to talk is about fewer less trees means less litter, or due to the less defoliation, which reduce the production of humus, so less nutrients in the soil. There will be rapid loss of nutrients from leaching, but less chemical weathering of rock due to less water in soil. The soil will become acidic and release iron and aluminium to form an infertile fertilic soil or nutrient poor. The soil layer will become increasingly thin and easily eroded once the trees have been declared. The infertile soil will prevent vegetative growth, reducing biodiversity and further nutrient cycling. Lodging operations may also alter the distribution of plant species by removing the canopy and increasing light exposure. And the last one is removal of the canopy also results in an increased loss of nutrients from the soil via runoff.
So the third part that we're going to discuss today is all about rainforest and our life. There are some questions out there about why we need rainforest in our life. And to answer to that question, there are 4 reasons why we need rainforest in our life. Because the first one, as we all know, rainforest is so huge and it is home to millions of species inside there. It can be plants or animal. The second one, it is still a lot of, thousands of undiscovered medicine inside there. And the third one, it helps to regulate water cycle, and the fourth one, rainforest can help to tone down the climate change. It is being closely related between rainforest and our life because rainforests just supply a lot of products that we need in our daily basic needs. So, for example, foods, it can be red meats and a lot of different fruits. And the second one is the global timber supply. And the third one is gold. So, there are some alternatives that we can use to minimize product consumption from rainforest. The first one, we use less consumption. That we have to change our behavior to consume less. And the second one, we have to ban the single-use packaging for like single-use plastic for our food. And the third one, we have to start to use sustainable food for our daily life. And the fourth one, we have to force ourselves to use some recycled wood products.
The next one, we're going to talk about the causes of deforestation. And the causes itself are divided into two parts, which is the man-made and nature. And the man-made is actually divided by three parts also. And the first one is cultivation and breeding. The forest farming encompasses a range of cultivated systems, from introducing plants into the understory of a timber stand, and it is to modifying forest stands to enhance the marketability and sustainable production of existing plants, so that cultivation and breeding is actually harm the nature in a very sufficient way. And the next one, we're going to talk about the infrastructure. Some infrastructure activities such as road building have a large indirect effect through opening up forests to settlers and agriculture. The effect actually is through opening up forests and through settlers and agriculture. Poor forest management and unsustainable field wood collection degrade forests and often instigate a form of a deforestation. The last one we have is timber extraction. Timber harvesting is very unsustainable in the sense that it cannot be sustained in the long run. Secondly, forests may be cut down for their timber, but they're not replaced. And then switch to other uses. And the deforestation itself results here from timber production practice that are very unsustainable and likely kill the nature and habitats in such ways by themselves. And the next one is causes by nature, which I can tell is by thunderstorm. Lightning can sometimes be one of the causes of forest fires, and lightning can strike trees directly, causing fires that spread and become one of the triggers for forest fires. And forest fires have many causes that will cause deforestation, which is related to nature and is related to climate change and global warming. And it is based on an increasing of the earth temperature, which it will cause the forest fire at the end of the day. And these are the mapping of where are the countries with the largest rates of deforestation in the world, and each country has its own cases. For instance, in Indonesia, specifically in Borneo, we have here the large forest fires here. We have a large deforestation because of forest fires in Borneo. Same thing happened in Australia at this year in 2020. The more than 67% of forest in Australia is burnt down, deforesting based it is because of the fire forest. And we have here, this is the whole globe area. We have here the very specific individual, very specific elements from every continent. And we have here the deforestation in Central Africa, in Amazonia, and the Southeast Asia, which every continent and every part of the world having different condition and different climate change. And here we have the regional tree cover loss period between 2001 and 2015. And here we can see that there are several differences in the data between one continent and another, which certainly has different causes and solutions. And each continent has data on the area that is lost due to the above factors. Since here we can see that in Africa, the forest fire, the deforestation is about 39 hectare, and the 93% of it is due to the shifting agriculture. And in Latin America, it is 78 hectare, and the highest percentage is 64% is based on the community driven of the deforestation. Next, we're going to talk about the impact of the deforestation. The first one is going to be greenhouse effect. It is a process that warms the Earth's surface when the sun's energy reaches the Earth's temperature and the Earth's atmosphere, and some of it is reflected back to the space, and the rest is absorbed and re-radiated by the greenhouse gases. So we can see here the diagram that shows how the greenhouse gas or the greenhouse effect works. The soil erosion is deforestation is a major cause of soil erosion. Perhaps the main cause. Trees and their roots provide the soil with an anchor, as well as a shelter from the wind and rain. When forests are wiped out, the land becomes exposed, leaving it vulnerable to being washed or blown away by the elements. And climate change is one of the impact by the deforestation too. And when the trees are cut down and burned down, it is allowed to rot. They stored carbon in the rotten tree, and the stored carbon is released into the air as carbon dioxide, and this is how the deforestation and forest degradation contribute to the global warming. And we have here the solution, which is the first one is reforestation. What is a reforestation? Is a natural or intentional restocking of existing forests and woodlands that have been depleted, usually through deforestation. And the second one is government regulations. The government has the right to make rules and regulations on the tree cutting and make regulations for using sustainable products to be consumed by the communities. And the last one is education. The public can get education about going green and the use of sustainable products towards the living life.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Danis Erham. I'm from group HG3, and today I'm going to talk about the maintenance of an interconnected forest. Management area are intended to provide a landscape level of linkages. These generally found in area human-created constructions of a forested ecosystems to provide a secure movement zone to connect portion of the forest that have a land allocation to provide a high level of habitat protection or a security, such as a designated wilderness. It may also design to provide the movement pathways through an area with adjacent high human development or disturbances. Habitat management activities will be based on the scientific information available. And the forest management can be based into two. The first one is conservation or economics, or maybe it can be based on the mixture of both of them. Forest maintenance for fire preventions. Forest maintenance for fire preventions are divided into two types. The first one is the maintenance of young forest. This criteria of a young forest is one that have been planted for at least 6 years, and the second one is the maintenance of a mature forest. This reduces the quantity of the flammable creations and maintenance of fire breaks, also grazing fires. The maintenance of young forest that has been planted for at least the last 6 years have most vulnerable to fire, because the fire will cause total damage or prevent natural renewal. So to prevent the fires of a young forest, the area must be isolated, and the area within it must have a fire breaks. And the quantity of flammable substances must be reduced within the area, along with controlled development of seedlings, spraying, grazing, and so on. The maintenance of a mature forest. So in order the flammable matter degradation maintenance of a fire breaks and the grazing lines, the treatment of the forest require a preparation of a program for the forest interface, which prioritize the necessary tasks according to their level of urgency and by the physical state of the forest, section or growth, primarily by considering the risk level of a fire starting and spreading. For this maintenance of a mature forest, they are divided into 7 types of maintenance. The first one is sanitation. Sanitation are the removal of a dead or a sick trees from the forest. Second one is the thinning. The thinning is the removing the less developed trees and the withering trees. The third one is the pruning. The pruning are removing the lower branches of the tree so it's separated from the ground. The next one is the burning. The cuttings. The cuttings are burned in a glade, so there's no chance that these cuttings of trees will make a fire. Next one is water. Why water? Because logically, water is the most important thing or a resource for extinguishing a fire. Next one is the watchtower. Why is watchtower is important in the maintenance of a mature forest? Because early detection of a forest fire and to direct the firefighter to the locations of the fire that happen. The last one is the removing the cutting and the tree waste. So in keeping a strip of forest along the roads free of cutting and protection rainforest law in Borneo are happened in February 2007 by the government of Indonesia, Malaysia, and Brunei. The conversations are talk about the 220,000 square kilometers of a Borneo forest. The name of the project is called A Heart of Borneo, and the plan is to avoid deforestation, but the reaction of the law is that being ignored and always violated. The reactions are inadequate, flagrantly violated, and no consequences. Governor's Regulations number 58, year of 2008, Chapter 1, Section 1. About number 8, land as a stretch of land ecosystem, either dry land, type of or wetlands which can be used for the exploitations of rice fields or fields for the community. Number 15 are the lanyard. Opening is an activity to open a new land for paddy fields and community gardens, including a maintenance cleaning of lanyards. Chapter 2, Section 2, about land and yard clearing. For the first one, everyone can open the land and the yards in the new locations, either inside and outside the territory of a customary rights in accordance with an applicable law, with due to observance of the special plan. Number 3, the clearing land and the yards is prioritized by way of land clearing without burning. The fourth one is everyone conducting land and yard clearing activities by means of a combustion must be carried out in limitation and controlled manner after obtaining the permission from the competent authority. As for Chapter 3, Section 3, about land and yard permits. Number 6, in granting permits, the authorized official must pay attention to the data fire and hotspot risk index, rating index, numerical fire weather index or FWI, or ratings numerical potential of a drought and smoke or a drought code DC, or a distance view in the region based on the data from the Environment Agency or a city life. And last one, number 7, all limited and controlled burning permits were declared invalid if the governor announced the status of dangerous based on the index fire and or air pollutant standard index or ISPU up to the level fire and or air pollution emergency is declared to stop.